The biggest mistake Theranos ever made was not building a faulty machine. It was not lying to investors. It was believing the truth would never come out. They were wrong, and this is where the story gets darker. So, ladies and gentlemen, dim the light, raise the volume, and enter chapter Nova tells, where every mystery hides another chapter. Guys, before we start this video, I have three questions for you. If you see this video carefully till the end, you are able to give answer of my question. So question number one is who played the biggest role in exposing Theranos? Question number two is why were so many employees afraid to speak out earlier? Question number three, what was the real reason Thanos started losing control? I hope guys you all are listening my questions carefully. Let's start this video. For years, Thanos looked unstoppable. It was worth billions. Powerful investor trusted it. The media praised it. And Elizabeth Holmes became one of the most famous entrepreneurs in America. But behind the success, employees were carrying secrets they were afraid to share, secrets that could destroy everything. And this is where the story gets darker. At first, the problem stayed behind hidden. Employees whispered quietly, questions were avoided, and many people hoped the company would somehow fix itself. But the problem did not disappear. They grew every month. More employees started noticing things that did not make sense. Blood testing results raised concerns, machines failing unexpectedly, and confidence inside the company slowly began to collapse. The public was knew nothing. Outside the world of Thanos, everything looked perfect. Inside the company, fear was growing. Something changed. A few former employees decided they could not stay silent forever. They had seen too much. They had heard too many excuses, and they believed people deserved the truth. But speaking was not easy. Thanos had powerful lawyers. The company aggressively protected its reputations. Many people feared the consequences. For a long time, most people remained silent. Then a journalist entered the story. His name was John Carrier. At first, he only heard rumors, small story, strange claim, unanswered questions. But the deeper he investigated, the most suspicious and everything became. The people who had worked inside Thanos started sharing information. Some spoke anonymously, others took enormous risks, and slowly a hidden picture started forming. The story was shocking. Thanos had promised revolutionary technology, but many insiders claimed reality was very different. The more evidence appeared, the harder it became to ignore. The questions turned into investigations, investigations turned into headlines, and headlines turned into a crisis. For the first time, Thanos was losing control of the story. The company fought back. Strong statements were released. Criticized were challenged. The company instead its technology worked, but public confidence was changing. Investors became nervous. Partners started asking difficult questions, and trust became harder to maintain. Meanwhile, journalists kept digging. Every new interviewer revealed another piece of the puzzle. Every former employee added another detail, and every detail pointed toward the same conclusion. Something that was seriously wrong. The image that Thanos had carefully built for years was starting to crack. As the pressure increased, The company's problem became impossible to hide. Government agencies started paying attention. A regulator asked questions. Expect demanded proof, and suddenly Theranos faced challenge from every direction. The company that once looked invincible was now fighting for survival. Employees who had stayed silent. This was not a turning point. Some felt revolted, others felt angry, and many simply wanted to turn to came out because for years they had watched the gap between promise and reality grow larger. Now the world was finally seeing what they had seen. The biggest danger for Thanos was not one article, it was not one employee, it was not one investigations. The real danger was that too many pieces of the story were finally connecting together. And once that happened, stopping the truth became almost impossible. And this is the where the story gets darker. Because the fall of Thanos had only just begun. The biggest revolutions were still ahead, and the consequence would begin soon. Would soon change everything. So, guys, now it's your turn. What clue stood out to you the most in this episode? And do you think Theranos could have survived if the truth had came out earlier? Comment your theory below and wait for next episode, which is last and a final episode of this story.